I have seen far too many mornings stolen by a quiet mistake that looks innocent on a plate. The first meal you choose can turn down the soreness that greets you at sunrise, or it can pour fuel on the very fire that tightens your back and hips. If that realization makes your heart drop a little, there is a softer path, and you can begin it today. Start a gentle breakfast shift that eases muscle pain, steadies your energy, and supplies the raw materials your body has been asking for. This is not a fad and not a cleanse. These are ordinary American staples used with intention, the kind of small change people in their 60s and 70s actually keep. Over years at the bedside, I blamed age for too much, until the evidence pushed me to look at the table. What we reach for while the house is quiet can nudge inflammation up or down, and that nudge grows more important with every decade we live. Trusted research communities, from national institutes to leading universities, repeatedly show that patterns rich in oats, spices like turmeric and ginger, berries, and omega-3 fats support recovery after activity, reduce the background chatter of stiffness, and help muscles hold their strength. That is not magic. That is physiology doing what it does when we give it better inputs. If you trade a sweet, fast-burning breakfast for one built around calm fuel and natural anti-inflammatory ingredients, you give your muscles less reason to shout and more room to heal. The upside is practical and kind. Ingredients are affordable and easy to find. The prep is simple even on a sleepy day, and the flavors are warm and familiar. Still, food is powerful, but not a cure-all. Morning pain can spring from poor sleep, low muscle mass, certain medicines, arthritis, or nerve issues. If you take blood thinners, turmeric deserves a conversation with your clinician. If your stomach is sensitive, ginger or black pepper may require a smaller pinch. If you watch sodium, smoked fish needs a smart swap or a lighter hand. And if you live with diabetes or kidney disease, a personalized plan keeps breakfast aligned with the rest of your care. Honesty about these limits does not weaken the promise. It keeps you safe. Here is how we will walk this road. I will open each breakfast with a real danger you might be living with, and a concrete relief you can try tomorrow morning, explain why it works in plain language, and ground it in the kind of evidence physicians rely on when we decide what to protect and what to replace. I will give gentle variations because there is no single American kitchen, and there is no single American body. If you want a place to start tonight, stage your counter for a calm morning. Set out oats with a little turmeric and ginger, or chill a bowl of chia with milk and a handful of berries, or pick up whole grain bread with a small piece of salmon and half an avocado. You do not need all of them at once. You need one quiet win that proves your body can feel different by lunchtime. The beauty here is not only relief, it is the return of control. Change the first thing you do, and you change the tone of the day. You are telling your muscles I am on your side. In a moment, I will begin with the first breakfast and show you how to make comfort part of your routine without spending more time, more money, or more willpower than you can spare. Most people past 60 accept the morning ache as if it were a natural tax of age, yet that belief is more dangerous than it appears. The heaviness in your thighs when you swing out of bed, the way your back tightens before you even take the first step, or the soreness that clings long after sunrise is not just an annoyance. It is the body's quiet way of saying that inflammation has been smoldering through the night. I have lost count of how many men and women in their 60s have told me they feel more drained upon waking than when they first laid down. And the saddest part is they think it is normal. The science does not agree. Chronic low-grade inflammation does more than make mornings stiff. It eats into muscle fibers, erodes the cushion of the joints, and speeds the march toward frailty. A comprehensive review from respected national institutes makes it plain that older adults who dismiss daily stiffness are far more likely to lose mobility and independence in the decade that follows. That is the hidden danger behind the morning ache. The soft sigh you let out as you brace to stand is not just a quirk of aging, it is a warning bell. Yet there is hope woven into this warning. Food is one of the fastest ways to dial down that fire. The first meal of the day can either stoke the flames or calm them, and that choice sits right on your kitchen table. Within this conversation, I will walk you through 3 simple breakfasts that transform the first hour of your day from a struggle into a steady lift. They do not demand gourmet skill or costly powders. They only require small shifts in familiar foods that allow your muscles to repair and your energy to rise on a steadier line. When you see the true risk, you also see the way out of it, and that is the reason I stay hopeful for every person who still longs to meet the morning with strength rather than resignation. I used to think that the aches in my muscles were nothing more than the toll of age, until I began to look closely at how food changes the way our bodies handle inflammation. Picture this. You are walking through your home, but there is a thin smoke hanging in the air that you cannot see clearly. It does not knock you down, but it irritates your lungs, slows your step, and makes you tired before you reach the door. That smoke is what chronic low-grade inflammation feels like inside your muscles and joints. It is not dramatic like a fracture, but it lingers, it stiffens, and it steals strength little by little. When respected research groups, including the National Institutes and Harvard investigators, compared recovery in older adults, they found a striking pattern. Those who ate more anti-inflammatory foods such as oats, turmeric, ginger, berries, and salmon experienced less stiffness and moved with more ease the following day. These are not exotic cures. They are everyday groceries acting like quiet extinguishers for the fires inside the body. Oats give a steady release of energy and prevent the blood sugar surges that trigger more inflammation. Turmeric carries curcumin, a compound that dozens of clinical studies confirm can reduce swelling and improve flexibility. Ginger provides oils that calm the inflammatory response and improve circulation. Omega-3 fats from fish or seeds slip into the very membranes of the muscle and silence the loud chemical signals of pain. Antioxidants from berries protect tissue the way fresh paint keeps wood from rusting. That is the science, but here is the human truth. These foods are familiar, affordable, and kind. They do not require hours in the kitchen or costly supplements. They ask only for a small shift in choice. Yet, no food stands alone. If you light a match by smoking, or let your muscles fade from inactivity, or ignore diabetes that runs out of control, breakfast cannot rescue you on its own. But when you combine these meals with small steps in movement and rest, the evidence becomes powerful. That is why I often tell my patients that breakfast is a lever. It is a small choice that multiplies into a larger change. Once you see it that way, you understand that every bite is not just fuel. It is either adding to the fire or helping to put it out. I still remember the morning Mary walked into my office. She was 68, with silver hair tucked neatly behind her ears and a kind of quiet defeat in her eyes. She told me that each dawn felt like climbing out of wet cement. Her knees locked, her back tightened, and by the time she made it to the kitchen table, she felt as though the day had already beaten her. She believed this was her fate, the unshakable price of age. What startled me was not only her pain but her surrender. She had convinced herself that her body was beyond repair. I suggested something so ordinary that she laughed out loud. I asked her to trade the glazed pastry she ate each morning for a bowl of oats warmed with turmeric and ginger and finished with a handful of berries. She thought it sounded more like a story from an old remedy book than real medicine, but she agreed to try. 2 weeks later, she returned, and her face told the story before she spoke. She still lived with arthritis. She still carried her years, but she no longer felt swallowed by the morning. She could bend more easily to reach the lower cupboard, and she no longer dreaded the slow walk to the mailbox. The shift was not a miracle, and I never promised one. What changed was the daily smoke of inflammation that had been choking her muscles. Clearing that fog even a little gave her body the space to move again. What mattered most to Mary was not the taste, though she admitted she grew fond of it. It was the proof that her body was still capable of change, that age had not locked every door. That spark of hope carried her forward. A single change at breakfast did not erase her struggles, but it gave her enough strength to take another step, and that step led to others. That is the kind of story that reminds me why small choices matter. They do not just feed the body. They restore the will to keep living fully. When I talk about solutions, I never mean complicated recipes or rigid rules. What I share are small meals that fit easily into an ordinary American kitchen, yet carry the strength of real science. The first path I often recommend is a bowl of oats warmed with turmeric and ginger. Oats provide slow, steady fuel that prevents the blood sugar spikes known to inflame the body. Turmeric carries curcumin, a compound shown in many studies to calm swelling and improve flexibility, while ginger adds natural oils that ease stiffness and boost circulation. A tiny pinch of black pepper helps your body absorb the curcumin more effectively. The great advantage of this option is its comfort, low cost, and speed. The limitation is that turmeric and ginger can upset sensitive stomachs, and anyone taking blood thinners should be careful before adding too much. Even so, for most older adults, it is a gentle and reliable way to begin the day with less pain. Another path is chia pudding with berries, which looks like a dessert, but works like therapy. Chia seeds are loaded with omega-3 fats that settle inflammation, and the berries provide vitamin C and antioxidants that protect muscle and connective tissue. The advantage is that you can prepare it the night before in less than 5 minutes and wake up to a ready meal. The drawback is that some dislike the texture of chia or find that too much fiber can cause bloating, but with small adjustments the benefits remain strong. A third choice is avocado with smoked salmon on whole grain toast. This pairing offers healthy fats, protein, and antioxidants that not only taste rich, but also reduce stiffness and support recovery. The benefit is sustained energy and the sense of enjoying a cafe-style meal at home. The caution is that smoked salmon can be high in sodium, so people with high blood pressure may prefer sardines, mackerel, or even plant-based alternatives, such as hemp or flax seeds. What matters is not perfection, but consistency. Each of these breakfasts has the power to quiet the silent smoke of inflammation and to remind your muscles they are still worthy of care. You do not need to adopt all of them. You need one small change that you can keep, and over time that single choice will shape mornings that feel freer, stronger, and kinder. Before this message fades and old routines take over, I want you to do something small tonight. Walk to your kitchen and bring the oats, the turmeric, or the bag of chia seeds to the front of your shelf, so they are the first things you see at dawn. When the morning stiffness tempts you to grab something quick and sweet, that quiet reminder will already be waiting for you. This step may seem too small to matter, yet studies show that the cues in your environment guide your decisions more powerfully than willpower alone. By setting the stage in advance, you make it easier for your sleepy morning self to choose comfort over convenience. Do not wait for a flawless plan. Prepare one breakfast that proves to your body that change is possible. That is all I ask for now. It is never too late to reclaim the mornings you once believed were gone. Each time you choose breakfast, you are casting a quiet vote for the body you will live in tomorrow. One gentle bowl of oats, one creamy cup of chia pudding, or one slice of avocado toast may not look like much in isolation, yet when gathered day after day, these choices build momentum and reshape the way your muscles and your spirit carry you. I have witnessed countless older adults discover that their bodies were still capable of responding, and the spark that returned to their eyes was more powerful than any pill I could prescribe. The future is not set in stone. The stiffness you feel today does not have the right to dictate how you will move next year. That path is still open, and it begins with the plate in front of you. Now, I want to turn the moment over to you. Which of these breakfasts feels possible for you to try first? Or do you already have a morning habit that calms your pain? Share it, because your story may become the light someone else is searching for. Together, we can weave a community where the small steps we take each day add up to freedom, to energy, and to dignity that lasts. Take care of your muscles, take care of yourself, and hold close the reminder that every morning is another chance to begin again.